Hi everyone, Dave here at East Rosebud Fly and Tackle in Billings. Welcome. Today I'm going to tie for you a pattern I developed, kind of a spin-off of a previous pattern I did with a bass fly. This is using that Mustad game hook, and I'm going to be using some Brahma hen for the claws on this Baby Cray is what I call it, some dumbbell eyes, little Chenille for the body, a little Marabou, flash, and a little bit of olive saddle here. This fly has had a remarkable record last year. Friends of mine have taken this on the lake above the dam on Bighorn and taken everything. Smallmouth bass, carp, channel catfish. They've really had a ball with this fly. And I also tie it in an olive derivation. Crayfish come in a lot of different colors, so whatever your local population is, but olive and rust are very, very common colors. So I've already tied on my dumbbell eyes. You can use lead or brass depending on the weight you want. Nice and tight with a little bit of zap-a-gap. This happens to be a size small, black, fluorescent orange, black. Leave a little room here behind the eye. And then I'm going to bring my thread down and reposition this hook, like so. Get my fingers out of the way. Go like that. Leave some room here. We don't want to freeze up the hook gap. I'm going to tie in a bit of a tail. This happens to be crawfish orange UV. And when I tie the olive version, I just use an olive Marabou. And just about half a hook gap in length. Get rid of some of this. All right. Not very big. This is the rostrum. This is the feeding feelers on the crawfish. They're very mobile, so we want a lot of movement there. And I'm going to bring my thread base back just a little bit to help with the next operation. Tie that off. Make sure those butts are down good. I'm going to bring a piece of, this is Magnum size holographic copper Flashabou. And I'm just going to double it around the thread here. Tie it in right there. Bring that back a little bit. Tie it down. I will trim that later. That's obviously more than enough. Okay, now I need to tie in my Marabou, my Chenille. So I'm going to bring the thread back down here. Fortunately, I don't have to reposition the hook. Always stretch your Chenille out a little bit and make sure you pick off an end so that you know you're down at the thread base. It's not a problem for most Chenilles, but you get some of the Chenille that has herl that's 3 inches wide. You could be tying in the herl and not the Chenille itself, and then have it pull out on you at the worst possible time, which is, of course, the only time it happens. Tie this in here, right up to the tail. All right, now I'm going to be using this Chenille to help prop these wings or these claws outwards. So I'm going to take a wrap of Chenille back and tie it down. Now I'm using this Brahma hen, a lot of different colors. This happens to be, pardon me, the March Brown. You can take matching feathers from in here if you like the black tip. These feathers down here are also very usable. So there's a lot of options here and a lot of flies on this cape. I'm just going to pick out 2 that are close enough together to give me the same size. And these claws, of course, the whole thing about this is motion. I am very big on motion on flies. So what I've done, they're back to back, like so. kind of like tying in goose buyouts for the tail. Make sure that the stems are parallel. I'm going to tie this right up against the chenille like this. And again, the chenille is there to help spread this. I don't want these too long. All fish favor a smaller crawfish over a larger one. I imagine the larger ones bite. As you see, I'm not trimming anything off of here. This extra hackle will help me to tie this down. You can see how tying it right up against that chenille helps to flare those. If they're not flared the way you like, you can always use X-wraps, come through those, and give them that permanent flare. Come back a few wraps here to get this tied down, and then trim that off. All right, I'm going to take one turn of thread of chenille, pardon me, in front of these claws as well. Tie it down. A little bit of saddle hackle for some extra movement. I'm using olive here. I've never seen a crayfish that wasn't a combination of orange and olive. That's just the way they are. Some more orange or more olive than the other, but I like the idea of the extra movement here. Tying it in by the tip, find yourself a division point like that, and tie it in right in front of your chenille. Go ahead and wrap it down. I'm going to reposition my hook again. Try to get the hook parallel. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Now for legs, you have a huge variety of legs. I'm just going to be using some of this barred and speckled crazy legs from Hairline. You can put as many legs on each side as you want. It just makes it a little more difficult to wrap the chenille and the saddle. So I'm going to hold it in the middle. Put this first one on the far side. A couple of wraps and make a bit of a band of thread. I'm going to wrap the chenille through the middle of that, and I want to have enough room. And then another leg. On this side, my fishing partner likes to put double legs on. God bless him for his patience. Tie this down here on this side. Make sure they're on the side of the hook, not on the top, like so. And then I'm going to bring my thread forward, all the way to behind the eye. Wrap your chenille in touching turns. And like I said previously, I like to bring this up in between where I tie down the legs. That helps to keep them separated. It's very easy to get your legs wrapped up into this, but you'll get it. All the way tight up behind the eye. Two wraps. Again, make sure you don't have a leg attached and don't cut them off. And I'm going to take saddle hackle, do the same thing. Wrap it through, 5 or 6 wraps. Pull these legs back. Now you're at the tip of the saddle hackle, so be careful your first couple of wraps. Try to use as much of this feather as I can. Make sure you're wrapping it on the edge. That way the hackle will stand out. And saddle hackle is soft, so it just gives the overall impression of the fly, of a soft fly. It seems that the fish will hold on to it much longer. And like I say, it's had an excellent track record. I get one wrap between my legs, the legs out of the way, and then finish it off here right behind the eye. Bring it in front. I like to check underneath to make sure I don't have anything showing. And a whip finish or two, little zap-a-gap if you prefer when you're finished. And this is just UTC 140 denier, burnt orange. Trim my Flashabou to be just a little bit longer than the claws. And the legs about the same. There you have it. This is designed to ride, of course, hook point up. Like to fish it wherever you have shorelines that drop off very quickly. Just crawl this down the shoreline in little bumps, just like a crayfish. You'll be amazed at the fish you catch. So thanks for joining in. That's Dave's Baby Cray. Give it a try. We'll see you next time.